I have been asked several times how all of this started for me, because it hasn't been a lifetime thing. So, as kind of a prequel, so that people understand where I'm coming from, I thought I would sort of say how this has all been going on. It's not going to be an extensive life story, so don't worry about that. But I did grow up in a household whilst religious, in as much as they were involved with the Baptist Church in Britain. Um, None of this stuff was a thing. It wasn't positive. It wasn't negative. I wasn't warned against it or anything. In fact, I really didn't realise any of it was real till many, many years later. My first inkling that stuff like this was actually a thing was when I was 49 years old, and that was, oh God, 17 years ago now. Um, Pictures, images, thoughts were all coming into my head unbidden, and I really hadn't got any clue where they were coming from, and I was beginning to think it was just the product of a fertile imagination. Um, it was only when I described an image to a friend that I was getting, who appeared to be somewhat sympathetic towards all this stuff, and she dug out a picture of her grandfather, who was the exact description that I was putting there and the exact picture I'd seen in my head. Then I thought, oh, hang on, stuff's starting to happen here. I'd seen a few shows with mediums on the television, and I admit I was intrigued, but not really paid much attention to it, apart from the thought of, wouldn't that be cool if I could do that? Little imagining that I could do that. Although mediumship, to be fair, isn't my strongest suit. Uh, that's probably because I haven't concentrated on it much or practiced it much. But stuff still comes to me even now. Um, I am blessed with a wonderful family, but they tend to have their own physical issues. So, having heard about the likes of Reiki and energy healing and all that, I thought it would be a good idea to see what I could learn about that, see if I could be of some benefit. And as they say, when the need arises, the teacher appears. And a Reiki qualified teacher appeared right in front of me, unbidden. Well, obviously, I had manifested them. That's a popular word lately, manifesting. Anyway, I had manifested this person, and I did my first level Reiki, and found it fascinating, and there was a quantum difference. For me, it was intriguing because I have always found that with my eyes shut, the colours start to flow effectively behind my eyelids. I thought it happened for everybody. Apparently, it doesn't. Um, but as soon as I was attuned with my first level Reiki, my colour show behind my eyelids changed, which was quite intriguing. Um, and I carried on a bit with that, and I started reading. And I bought myself what was fairly new at the time, a Kindle, and I read about 50 odd books around the subject, various things, and discovered there was a lot more to this than I ever thought. It did mean that my broadly atheistic views about life and how things work had to change, because a lot of stuff seemed to be showing me that that way of thinking wasn't valid. So over time, that changed too. I did my second level Reiki, and things changed again. And I'd even done a couple of quantum touch courses as well, and things improved again. And I've found that I appear to be a reasonably good healer. A couple of spectacular healing events happened around me, including one where somebody's labyrinthitis, for those that don't know, it's a swelling in the ear that and causes problems with your balance. Someone's labyrinthitis went from hanging onto the doorpost so she wouldn't fall over to turning pirouettes in the space of about 20 to 30 seconds. And I did say, you know, that I don't know what I've just done. You're welcome, by the way. I hope it lasts a long time, but it could last 5 minutes, 5 months, or the rest of your life. I don't know. But whatever, it happened. And also somebody else I was talking to about this stuff, apparently her hearing markedly improved after we spoke and I demonstrated a couple of bits. So I was thinking, I really have to find out what's going on here. So I started investigating that stuff a lot further. So, and it has just been a constant process of learning from, say, from not knowing anything to still not knowing much, but knowing a lot more than I used to. So that's where it has all started. It did mean that a few things that happened during my childhood that I remember started to make more sense as well. I heard my name called around the house, and it was never my mum, but being 7, 8 years old, so, oh, must be hearing things, and went off and carried on playing with my train set. So that kind of got pushed off to the side because nobody knew any different. But that's where a lot of this stuff has started for me. And so unlike some who have been aware of all their abilities right from word go, it took 49 years, notably 7 sevens. Everything happens on the 7. If you look at your life, most of the major things that happen to you happen spiritually wise, certainly happen on the 7, usually due to your change in attitude or body energy or something of that nature. But that's a subject for another time. But at the age of 49, this sort of stuff started, and 56 had another major jump in my abilities and so on, and I did some training courses, even did some mediumship training. Probably ought to do that some more, but I am never going to be a Tony Stockwell, I don't think, or any of these other famous mediums, but it does mean I get insights. So that's where I'm coming from, and this is probably why I can do this whole series from the point of view of somebody who's sort of had it dropped on them rather than, well, this has always been the way. So with that we can sort of carry on from there, just so you know where I'm coming from. This isn't sort of a vanity project. You can just call this a prequel to all the other stuff I've done. So if you're not sure where I'm coming from with it, that's what it was all about. And hopefully I'll see you later on with some of the other videos that I intend to make. Intention's always a good thing, it's actually following up on it, but that's another issue. So I'll see you later, and thank you for listening.